What's up, guys? So I received a pretty good question. Which one would you buy, the Galaxy S22 Plus or the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra? So this is a pretty good question because both of these phones are actually around the same price in the used refurbished marketplace. You can see the Note has, unfortunately retained its value. I still think it's a little bit too expensive for going into 2024, and you can see it's pretty much almost the same price as a Galaxy S22 Plus. So there are definitely pros and cons in this comparison, so we're going to go ahead and go over those things. And also, guys, another big thing with the hardware here is SD card support. The Note 20 Ultra does have SD card support, and the S22 Plus obviously does not. And guys, that's kind of like a big selling point with this Note 20 Ultra, why it's so popular and retaining its value, because it's the only Note that's getting security updates with SD card support, which is actually a big thing a lot of people. Alright, so there is a bit of a display difference here. So the Note having the bigger display at 6.9 inches, it's dynamic AMOLED 120 Hz, HDR10+, 1440p, 496 for the PPI. Now this phone can only do 120 Hz at the 1080p resolution though. So if you do 1440p on the Note, you're going to have to be in 60 Hz. The S22 Plus has a smaller display at 6.6 inches. It's dynamic AMOLED display as well too. It's HDR10+. It does also have a higher max brightness than the Note, so it is a little bit brighter in direct sunlight. It's 1080p 393 for the PPI. Both displays look really good. You'll notice that the Note is a curved display and the S22 Plus is a flat display. It really comes down to personal preference, but a lot of people like the flat displays because it's easier to put screen protectors on it and stuff like that. But it just comes down to personal preference with that. And you can see the actual shape of the displays are actually different. The Note with the more boxier design, and then you have a more curved design on the S22. Like I said, it comes down to personal preference. Honestly, looking at both displays head on, they both look really good. But like I said, you can't use the Note's 120 Hz unless it's in 1080p. So a lot of people are just going to use it in 1080p anyway. But as far as the displays go, I mean, they're both really good, honestly. All right, so let's talk about the specs a little bit more here. So the S22 is running Android 13. They're both running Android 13, but this phone will get up to Android 16, I believe, for major OS updates, and they don't get security patches. This phone is currently only getting security patches right now, so the Note is not getting any more major OS updates. As far as speed goes, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 is on the S22, and then you also have the Snapdragon 865 on the Note 20 Ultra. The S22 does have 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM, and then the Note, like I said, has that SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM on the base models. As far as speed goes, both these phones I actually feel about the same in terms of speed when it comes to general use. When it comes to gaming, you might see like if you play like a ton of games, but even me just like firing up PUBG and stuff like that, which I'll show you guys, it's really not that big of a difference. So as far as like the speed is concerned, the Note 20 Ultra is still actually a really fast phone. As you can see, it pretty much opens applications and it manages animations and everything very, very smoothly. As you guys can see, it's pretty much feels identical in terms of performance. Now, like I was saying about like gaming, as a casual gamer, I honestly did not notice any difference with performance. The Note 20 Ultra still does an excellent job playing, PUBG. You can play it at 90 frames. Now, I'm sure, of course, when you benchmark these in Geekbench and you do, run GPU benchmarks, of course, the S22 is going to be the better phone on paper. But for the average person, you're not going to see any difference. Both these phones play out on 90 frames, and it's very smooth. And I don't have any type of overheating problems or anything like that with either of these phones. So gaming performance is pretty much going to be, roughly the same. Now, will that change, a couple years down the road as the games, get more graphically intense or whatever? Maybe, but for right now, the Note 20 Ultra, I mean, it plays everything in the Play Store just fine. Let's check out the speakers max volume. Yeah, so the Note 20 Ultra does have the slightly better speakers. It's just a fuller sound. The S22 lineup in general just has really weak speakers for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it just sounds a little bit flat in comparison to the Note 20 Ultra. Now, if we're going to talk about, features and stuff like that, for right now, you have identical features except for the S Pen stuff. Samsung desktop support, all that stuff is on here because they're running the same software. They both have the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which haven't had any issues with. They work just fine, or you can use the face unlock on both of these as well. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras. I thought this was pretty interesting to see. So the S22 Plus has a 15 megapixel standard, a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24 with a 10 megapixel selfie cam that can shoot in 4K 60. The Note 20 Ultra, it does have a 108 megapixel standard lens on here, and then you also have a 12 megapixel periscope with 5x optical zoom, and then you also have that 50x hybrid zoom as well too, and then you have 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 8K 24 as well with a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. Be sure to check out these side-by-side photos. Let me know, do you see a massive difference here in terms of image quality? Alright, so lastly, let's talk about the battery life on both of these phones. They both actually have a 4500 milliamp hour battery. Now, the S22 Plus actually has faster charging speeds. It's got a 45 watt charging speeds, and then it has wireless and reverse wireless charging. The Note only has 25 watt, fast charging, and then you have that wireless and reverse wireless charging as well. As far as battery life, the battery life is actually better on the S22 Plus. Now again, you do have battery degrade on like the Note. If you buy like a used refurbished phone, you're not going to have that, 100% battery health probably. But yeah, so I did notice that the battery life is just better. Standby time is better on the S22 Plus. And it's probably due to just the chip being a little bit more efficient. Like I said, even if they were both brand new, I still feel like the S22 would just have better battery life in general. Alright, so that's pretty much it. It's a pretty interesting comparison because there's a lot of pros and cons here. Like, pretty much the pros with the S22 Plus is that I think it's just more comfortable to hold. You do have more software updates with the S22 Plus. Also, with this phone, it does have a stronger chipset, which could be beneficial down the line. But for right now, it's not really a big deal. And then, like I said, it's just way more comfortable. Now, the Note does have, it has a really big screen on it. It's got the S Pen. It's got SD card support. But the downside is that this phone is only getting security patches for right now. And like I said, not that comfortable to hold. Some of the pictures I thought were a little bit better on the S22 Plus, but it was like barely. I was actually surprised with the image quality that the Note was able to still pump out. So it's a pretty interesting comparison. So be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.